alopecia, stem cells, and we've done many clinical trials related to alopecia. He is a graduate of Seoul National University College of Medicine in 1994. He did a fellowship in training at the Seoul National University Hospital. He is a visiting scholar at the Laboratory of George Consorellis at the University of Pennsylvania from 2007 to 2009. And he is currently on the staff at Seoul National University Hospital since 2005. That you welcome Dr. and Professor Kwon toward the treatment of permanent chemotherapy-induced alopecia. Professor?
Chair, thank you much for kind introduction. I am greatly honored and humbled to be here in this prestigious meeting. I would like to sincerely thank the honorary president, Professor Yoshiki Ohara, co-president Professor Yoji Roy, and Professor Satoshi Kami, and the organizing committee for providing me with this great opportunity. Today, I will talk about chemotherapy-induced alopecia for the recovery of the permanent hair loss. I'm a consultant for LG Household and Healthcare Company in Korea, but there is no conflict of interest to declare in this talk. Briefly, I will summarize the current available treatment options, and next we will discuss relevant solutions. Let's see the teenage patient with a permanent chemotherapy-induced alopecia. They show these sparse and thin hairs that cannot be recovered even several years after their last chemotherapy or radiation treatment. They have to wear wigs in their whole lives, even from the childhood. There would be other preferable options, such as hair transplantation, due to their limited own hairs. Hair loss after chemotherapy is known to occur two-thirds of the patient, which is most problematic with females or school-age children or teenagers. It's reported that around 8% of female cancer patients they may decline to receive chemotherapy because of fear of the hair. Some school-age children they may be reluctant to have social interactions. Generally, the hair loss would be reversible. Hairs grow again typically after a delay of 3 to 6 months. However, unfortunately, around 15% of the child survivors show such a permanent alopecia. Permanent alopecia can be defined when sparse and irreversible hair loss could persist even 6 months after their last chemotherapy. To evaluate the efficacy of all the tried interventions to prevent chemotherapy-induced alopecia, we performed a systematic review and an analysis. To prevent chemotherapy-induced alopecia, scaffolding method has been available. The scientific rationale for scaffolding is based on constriction or the reduction of biochemical activity of the scar tissues. These are some examples of scaffolding care that should be placed several times a day or continuous circulation system with a cold air or liquid. To be successful, it's important to maintain intradermal hypothermia. Therefore, it's necessary to maintain the proper infusion during time we are holding. However, as you can expect it, it's not easy to wear such an ice bag on your head all day long. We can see the eyes frosting. Some patients complain of headache and sometimes can't endure such a procedure. As a pharmacological approach, AS101, a synthetic tellurium compound or amino acid have been tried, but they cannot prevent permanent alopecia. This is the flow diagram of our analysis. Firstly, we collected or identified studies from the database, such as PubMed, Embase, or concurrent libraries. And then we excluded the duplicate articles and studies with the selection bias or the non-controlled trials. Finally, we could analyze the 17 articles that were designed randomized into a trial or controlled studies. How was the result? In summary, only scalp cooling or scalp cooling with compression showed to reduce the risk of the alopecia after chemotherapy. Other trials didn't show any meaningful effect. Furthermore, Induced or any kind of pharmaceutical trials didn't show any significance. Conclusively, the other trial, the preventive method, were not so satisfactory. Next, I will move on to the solutions. For the treatment of the permanent alopecia after chemotherapy, we can try the regeneration, the new hair follicle formation, or replacement, the allogeneic transplantation of hair follicles. Firstly, I'll talk about the generation of human hair follicles, the transgenic the precursor cells. Generally, to make new hair follicles, the method can be classified into two ways. First one is de novo hair follicle neurogenesis after wounding or physical disruption of the skin. Marion Ito, who had been at Dr. Gonzalez's lab, demonstrated new hair follicles can be formed after wounding. The other trial is the in vitro cell-based tissue engineering. In this trial, there is several leading groups, including Dr. Manabu Oyama. In this cell-based tissue engineering, the role of the papilla cells is critical. They instruct epithelial cells to make hair. Briefly, you can cultivate hair-inductive papilla cells and epithelial cells, and then implant them into the skin. A little more advanced method will be to make baby hair. Prior to implantation, you can make mini hair follicles or proto hair, and then implant them into the skin. You can see such a budding of the spears. However, in this trial, one of the most critical problems would be that the papilla cells and epithelial stem cells, they quickly lose their potential to induce hair follicles. Therefore, in the era of the iPS cell technology, we try to generate human hair follicles using the iPS cells. With the human dermal fibroblast, we firstly generate several iPS cell lines by insertion of dermal protectors. For the epithelial cell source, the polygenic adenoma precursor cells were established using iPS cells. In the proposed protocol, these adenoma precursor cells, when co-grafted with the mouse dermal conductive cells, can induce such a hybrid follicles. You can see active expression of human nuclear antigens. Furthermore, for the epithelial cell source, in this area, from the same group, DP substituting cells were prepared from iPS-derived mesenchymal stem cells. These are the proposed two-step differentiation protocol from iPS cells to iPS-derived mesenchymal stem cells, similar to bone marrow stromal cell, and then try to cell the DP properties. The iPS-derived mesenchymal cells can be differentiated osteoblast, adipocyte, or chondrocyte. These are DP certain cells show functional DP properties, and for active with the human cartocyte, they can induce such a follicle structure. In addition, you can see such a biostructure in scanning via microscope. However, it's well known there is a the apparent heterogeneity of the papular cells. The papular cells in the craniofacial area originate from your crest stem cells or your crest fibrous precursor cells. On the other hand, the papular cells in trunk skin, they are from mesenchymal stem cells or the somatic fibrous precursor cells. Furthermore, your crest-derived stem cells are widely distributed in craniofacial area, including hair follicles. We have most of the terminal hair on the scalp. Therefore, we thought it would be more efficacious to use your crest stem cells rather than the mesenchymal stem cells. Furthermore, to generate human hair follicles, our simplest method was to capitulate the biological status of hair follicle stages. Interestingly, in human fetal scalp, around the 12 weeks of gestation ages, the dermal condensate cells appears derived from P75 anti-alpha derived crest origin cells. You can see such a migrating track of the neuronal precursor cells. But after then, the expression gradually fades away in hair germ stages. Therefore, based on the development patterns of crest contribution to DP cells, we adopted crest stem cell intermediate. We designed a two-step differentiation protocol from iPS cells to crest stem cells, and then the papular precursor cells with the final spiral expansion. Crest stem cells can be differentiated from the iPS cells within 2 weeks. And then we can differentiate cells into the DP precursors that look like primary DP cells, creating these spheres. To monitor differentiation process, we need the surface markers. Syndecan-1 is a very faithful cell surface marker that will constantly express the dermal side from the hair follicle. On the other hand, CD133 is one of the originally proposed hair-inducing DP markers. It was not expressed in dermal side from the human follicle. It was consistent with the previous GRB report from PAM. We can't see any expression of CD133 in dermal side. Rather, CD133 appears the marker of epidermal thickening cells. Next, we monitored the temporal expression of Syndecan-1 and CD133 during the differentiation process. Syndecan-1 that was relatively low in iPS cells, they dramatically increased during the differentiation process. On the other hand, CD133 is relatively low, relatively high in iPS cells, gradually decreased. Therefore, we could know there is a specific time window period to obtain Syndecan-1 positive CD133 negative cell population that emerges from day 25 and reached maximum day 40. But this population was not stable. The number quickly decreased with the successive passage. Further, we checked the gene expression and found the progressive statewide differentiation from iPS cells, and then crest stem cells, and finally DP precursors. The expression of the sequence genes were increased from day 25 and then reached maximum day 40 and quickly decreased. However, CD133 is a well-known hair-inducing DP cell markers. Therefore, we analyzed CD133 positive and CD133 negative cell populations. Notably, compared to CD133 positive cell population, the negative population showed significant upregulation of TP signature genes. Furthermore, only CD133 negative cell population could induce such a hybrid hair follicles and combined with the mouse neonatal ectodermal stent compared to the CD133 positive cells. Next, compared to primary TP cells, our TP precursor show well-known TP cell markers such as phosphate, osmosis actin, storage or nesting. Further, transcription profile also demonstrated our TP precursor spear cells showed much higher expression of TP seal genes compared to primary TP cells or spear cells. To validate trigenicity our TP precursors, the 40 TP precursors here were transplanted with a mouse neonatal ectodermal cells. Apparently, we could see more hybrid hair follicles in TP spears, TP precursor cells spears compared to primary TP cell spears. Further, we tested the cell trackers, and you can see high expression of the beta pollutions in the TP or reconstituted hair follicles. Next, we compare the gene expression profile by RNA sequence analysis. During the differentiation process, neural crest stem cells were drastically changed to different population of TP precursor cells. The TP precursor cells were much closer to primary TP cells or TP spears. Among 4 types of the cells, our TP precursor were much similar to primary TP cells with some features of the neural crest stem cells. For the reconstitution of human hair follicles, we generate epithelial stem cells from iPS cells. The epithelial stem cells constantly express the Q14, Q15, and alpha-6 integrin. Further, the epithelial stem cells show high expression of CD133 and protein accumulation. With the negative selection and high selection by the cell surface markers, you can purify the needed cells. We perform the patch assay with a mixture of purified cells and mouse neonatal thermal condensate cells. We can see well-formed hybrid hair follicles. Finally, we tried the novel skin reconstitution assay exclusively the iPS-derived TP precursors and epithelial stem cells. Uniformed hair follicles were clustered in the center of reconstituted skin with a modulated sheaths and TP structures. We can see high expression of human-specific mitochondria, and hair-specific cat markers were well expressed. Multiple layers. In summary, to make the novel human hair follicles, we try to recapitulate human hair follicle molecular stages. Whether possible to establish the differentiation protocol from iPS cells to TP precursor via neural cluster stem cell intermediate. Further, Syndicate-1 high-K DB163 negative TP cell precursor cells show authentic TP cell profile and folliculogenicity, whereas the epithelial stem cells rather show high expression of CD133 and the actinium activity. Eventually, we could generate human hair follicles entirely with the iPS-derived TP precursors and epithelial stem cells. We hope it would be one step closer to develop cell-based treatment to overcome permanent failures. Next, I will move on to the second topic, the replacement, the allogeneic hair transplantation. Recently, the anti-human ICAM1 antibody was reported. It can induce dendritic cell-based T-cell tolerance. And interestingly, it is cross-functional with ICAM1 molecules in non-human primates. ICAM1 molecules mediate leukocyte integration by binding to leukocyte functional antigen and LEG1. This epitope-based ligation ICAM1 will arrest the cell in immature stages, that results in minimal expression of less and co-stimulant molecules. It can induce T-cell tolerance to a specific antigen given a certain window of period without general immune suppression. As I am also affiliated with children's hospital too, frequently I am impressed by the parents. They wish to provide their care to their poor children. Therefore, we hypothesize if we pre-treat anti-human ICAM1 antibody before allogeneic transplantation of hair follicles, it may induce immune tolerance and prevent allograft rejection. Therefore, to validate our hypothesis, we performed feasibility tests in non-human primates. It's our experimental design. The anti-ICAM1 antibody MD3 was pre-treated at day 4 and day 1 before hair transplantation. These are the examples of the matched subject. Eyebrow are the thickest hair in the monkey. Therefore, whole eyebrow were taken and then dissected and then implanted on the back of the paired subject. Definitely, the number of visible hair follicles were well preserved until 4 weeks after hair transplantation, near 80%. Whereas, in the control group, the hair follicles quickly disappeared as early as first week. The difference was more obvious in the moscopy findings. You can see well preserved hair follicles. But very disappointingly, the implanted hair follicles could not progress the next hair cycle. Much delayed, but finally rejected. Therefore, we could know T-cell tolerance alone is not enough for the allogeneic transplantation of the hair follicles, and realized the antigen presentation process would be critical for the success of the allogeneic transplantation. After allogeneic transplantation, there are 2 ways to present yellow antigen. First one is direct pathway, in which passenger donor dendritic cell capture donor antigen and then present to recipient T cells. The other way is indirect pathway, recipient dendritic cell capture donor antigen and then present to recipient T cells. Therefore, we prepared dual blocking strategy covering donor-derived and recipient-derived dendritic cells. To eliminate donor dendritic cells, we irradiate UVB twice before transplantation, in vivo and in vitro. For the adjuvant, the blocking of the recipient dendritic cell and co-stimulant molecules, we treated anti-CD154 antibody on the recipient humanized mice. UVB intensity was determined as a migration inducible but minimal toxicity. We pre-treated UVB in vivo on the half of the donor scalp 3 days before hair transplantation, 90% of minimum initial dosage, and in vitro on the dissected follicles 2 hours prior to allografting. After 2 sessions of UVB, pre-treatment, definitely you could see donor dendritic cells migrated completely away from the follicular epithelium of donor hair follicles. Further, as we expected, we can't see any apoptotic cells in the covered control area and the UV treated test area. We hope to test our hypothesis in human immune system. Therefore, we generate humanized mice and perform image class mismatched the hair transplantation. It's the experimental design. The NSG mice was irradiated with a session gamma radiator. After then, 4 hours later, CD34 positive hematopoietic stem cells purified from umbilical cord blood were injected and then allowed to engraft over 16 weeks. We could see the human immune cells, HLA immune cells, were successfully repopulated over 16 weeks. And this time point, we performed hair follicle transplantation. The hair follicles were obtained from oxidoscarp or health volunteer. The experimental group was divided into 5 subgroups. The immune deficient NSG mice were included as a negative control without any human immune system. Humanized mouse were divided into 4 subgroups according to treatment group. First group was a party control. There was no treatment with an intact human immune system. The second group was the UVB treated group. Third, the antibody treated group. The last one is the UV plus antibody treated group. How was the long-term survival of the allograft? As you can expect, in group 5, the party control, there were no surviving hair follicles. Interestingly, in all 3 groups showed long-term survival of the allograft until 6 months after hair transplantation. We can see uregrowing black hairs demonstrating the entrance of energy 6 cycle. Most remarkable finding was, although the UV plus antibody treated group showed best survival, at least the UV only treated group also showed survival and normal hair cycles. It was an unexpected result. Therefore, we tried to investigate the underlying mechanism of this phenomenon. Hair follicle is a very unique immune pullibility site with the minimal expression of image class expression and high upregulation of a strong, potent immunosuppressant. Definitely in the patch control, we can see the accelerated expression of the image class expression demonstrating the catastrophe of the immune privilege. On the other hand, our test group showed minimal expression of the image class expression similar to the negative control. Furthermore, in the group 5, K15 positive hematopoietic stem cell has already distilled image class positive follicular lamina. On the other hand, you can see intact follicular stem cell layers, all the 3 tested demonstrating the maintenance of intact immune privilege in this mismatched allograft. Previously, in the very interesting Nature paper, Professor Corinne Yahoda demonstrated human hair follicles that were obtained from male donor could survive and induced to grow uniform hairs in MHC incompatible gender mismatched host. They proposed the maintenance of intact immunoglobulin to be the underlying mechanism for the long-term survival. Similarly, in our conceptual experiment in humanized mouse model, we could proceed MHC mismatched human hair follicle transplantation. The implanted hair follicles will progress to next hair cycle with a unigrowing hair. In conclusion, we think this dual tissue targeting strategy covering the antigen plantation process will be well adapted in human immune system. With a further future study, it may become a potential tool for preventing unwanted rejection, such as skin grafting or hair transplantation. I would like to especially thank my mentor, Professor George Gonzalez. 10 years ago, he allowed me to join his lab and dive into the hair regeneration research at 10. I also appreciate Professor Ellen Lo, the founder of our Korean Hair Research Society. He is a man of vision, and he always encourages young investigators with his passion. I also appreciate Marion Ito. When I joined the George lab at Penn, I didn't much experience in animal research. She was so nice and super patient that I could work together with her, and she taught me everything I can do now. I also appreciate my past lab members for active communication and very insightful discussion. Louis, Peggy, Max, Denise, and Chacho. I also appreciate Manabu. He is the path maker, and I'm just following his way. I also appreciate Professor Kyuhan Kim, former chairman of the department. These are our members, Bomi Khan, my PhD student, and Junyoung Kim, great talented, this fellow did a lot of work in this project. For the cell therapy and regenerative experiment, we are collaborating with Kwon and Cho. And for the allogeneic transplantation experiment, we are actively working together with the Kyuhan Chung and some Park in gene transplantation research center. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much for that quite wide description of your activities and the hope for transplanting some of these permanent alopecias. Are there any questions from the audience? If so, will you go to the microphone? George?
Great talk. I was wondering, did you try irradiating a mouse, UV irradiating a mouse before grafting as well? You put any antigen cells in the mouse?
Basically, we only expose the UV on human hair follicles, not on mice.
So you may want to try irradiating the mouse first also. Irradiate both the graft and the mouse. Get rid of all the APCs.
Okay. Thank you very much for your nice suggestion.
Any other questions? Well, thank you very much, Professor.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, doctors. The next program is launching seminar. Once you're in the room, please use the doors at the back.